Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something that seems, well, really simple on the surface. But, like a lot of the basics, there's actually quite a bit of complexity, nuance there. We're talking about saying hello in English, all the different ways.
It's so true. Hello is often like the very first word you learn, right?
Yeah.
But then you actually listen to native speakers, maybe for just 5 minutes, and you realize, wow, okay, hello is just the beginning. There's this whole rich variety of greetings they use all the time.
Absolutely. And you, our listener, you sent over a great batch of sources on this articles, some research, even just notes and observations.
Yeah, really good stuff.
So our mission for this deep dive is to take all that, unpack it, really dig in. The goal is to pull out those key things, those insights, so you can handle greetings in English more like a native speaker. Feel comfortable doing it, whether it's a formal work thing, meeting friends, or even just online.
Exactly. Because choosing the right greeting, it's not just about knowing the words. It's a social thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It signals your relationship, the situation. Understanding that context is just, well, crucial.
Okay, so let's start with the bedrock. Hello. The sources all seem to agree. This is the universal one, right? Pretty much works anywhere.
That's your safe bet, your reliable standard. You can use hello, meeting someone new, talking to your boss, greeting a stranger on the street. It just works.
It covers all the bases.
It does, but, as soon as you step away from that maximum formality, things start branching out pretty quickly.
That's where you see the simpler, maybe more relaxed versions pop up, like hi.
Hi is super common, very simple. You'd use it with friends, family, colleagues, pretty well. Generally good for most casual spots.
Then you get even more informal, which the sources highlighted too. Things like, hey, heya.
Hey there, hiya.
Yeah, those definitely signal a more casual, friendly vibe. You know the person?
Yes, and what's interesting, something the research pointed out, is how these greetings travel. Hey, for instance. It used to be thought of as much more American English.
Right.
But now you hear it way more in British English, too. Probably, media influence, cultural exchange.
It really shows how language isn't fixed, is it? It's always changing, absorbing things.
They're simply evolving.
It makes you wonder about the history. The sources touched on that a bit, like hello itself came from hello, which was another version of holla.
Yeah, and back in the 14th century, get this, holla was apparently used to, make someone stop.
No way. Like yelling stop as a greeting. That's bizarre.
Imagine. And how do you know that classic Southern U.S. greeting? People think it's just cowboy talk.
Right.
But it actually goes back to 16th century English from how do ye, basically an old way of asking how are you or how do you do.
Huh. See, these little historical bits, they just remind you how much things shift over time.
For sure.
Okay, speaking of how do you do and older stuff, let's swing to the other end of the spectrum, away from the casual, hey, what about those times when you have to be formal?
Ah, right. Business meetings, maybe a job interview.
Greeting someone senior or maybe an older neighbor you respect, friends, parents.
Yeah, exactly. In those cases, you need greetings that signal respect, professionalism. The go-to options are based on the time of day.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Those are your standards.
And the sources mention that good morning is often used, like instead of hello when you greet one person formally. It feels a bit weightier.
It does, yeah. And what's really crucial for formality is adding a title or name. It's not just good morning.
It's good morning, Miss Jones, or hello, Mr. Smith.
Exactly. Or if you're addressing a group formally, good morning, everyone. That recognition, that personalization shows respect.
Okay, what if you're meeting someone for the very first time in one of those formal situations? Specific phrases for that too, right?
Oh, definitely. It's nice to meet you, or maybe slightly more formal. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Standard stuff.
Very standard. And one source had a great reminder, simple but important. Only use these the first time you meet.
Oh, right. Saying nice to meet you the second time is awkward.
Very awkward. Signals you completely forgot them.
Good tip. And going back to how do, you mentioned its history, but how's it used now? It sounds quite formal, maybe even a little old-fashioned.
It is. It's very formal, definitely a bit old-fashioned. You might still encounter it in, very traditional circles, maybe certain regions. But here's the really interesting bit, something one source clarified nicely. It's not actually a question about how you are.
Wait, it's not?
No, it's basically a statement. It functions like saying, I'm pleased to meet you.
So you don't answer with, fine, thanks.
Yeah.
Because that's what feels natural.
That's the common mistake. Nope. The traditional expected response to how do you do is just to say it back.
How do you do?
How do you? It's like a verbal handshake, a set phrase exchange.
Wow, okay. A linguistic handshake. I like that. A statement pretending to be a question. And this formality, it goes beyond just spoken words, right? The sources mentioned written greetings, too.
They did. They stressed that for formal writing, like letters or emails to older people or official contacts, that opening is key.
So, dear Mr. Smith, dear Dr. Jones, or if you don't know the name,
Dear Sir Madame. Those are the standards. It just shows that when the context or age or status demands it, that formality carries across, even into writing.
makes sense. And face-to-face in those formal settings, there's a physical part, too.
Right. A handshake is pretty standard when you first meet someone formally.
But probably not every single time you greet them after that.
Usually not, no. But the sources also mention, just smiling, making brief eye contact. Those are also part of a polite, formal greeting, little nonverbal cues.
It's the whole package. Words, tone, body language conveying respect.
Exactly. It all works together.
Okay, so that's the super formal end. Let's swing back towards casual. Greetings for friends, family, people you know well, relaxed situations.
Right. This is where you have much more freedom. You'll definitely hear those informal words we talked about. Hi. Hey. Heya.
And people often shorten things, right? Like just morning instead of the full good morning.
Yep. Very common. Quick and casual.
And what if you haven't seen someone for a bit? The sources had some good phrases for that.
Yeah, it's good to see you is a classic. And one source pointed out, interestingly, that this one can actually stretch across different formality levels. It works casually, but also in slightly more formal reunion settings, too.
Okay, but then you get ones that are purely for people you know well. Like, it's been ages.
Or long time no see.
Yeah. Or even, where have you been hiding?
Those definitely signal closeness. It's been ages, obviously means it's been a while. And where have you been hiding? That's sort of a warm, teasing way to say, hey, haven't seen you around. What have you been up to?
It kind of invites a bit more conversation.
It does, yeah. It prompts a catch-up.
And in these casual settings, physical greetings change a lot, too.
Oh, absolutely. Close friends, family hugs, maybe kisses, depending on the culture and relationship, are pretty normal.
Right.
With friends or maybe close colleagues you get along well with, you might see a high five or a fist bump, quick signs of connection, solidarity, and just a simple wave, of course. Very common, especially if someone's across the room or you're just passing by quickly.
So, yeah, it ranges from that formal handshake all the way to a hug.
Yeah.
The gesture kind of matches the words in the relationship.
Precisely. It's that combination. Again, the words, the tone, the physical action, all lining up.
Okay, now this next group, I think this is where a lot of learners get tripped up. And it was a fascinating point the sources really dug into. These are the greetings that sound like questions.
Ah, yes. The famous question greetings. Things like, how are things? What's new?
What's up? How's it going?
What's happening? How's your day going? How are you? How you doing? Yeah. They sound like they demand a real update on your life.
But, and this is the key insight from the sources, very often, they're not actually asking for all that detail.
Exactly. In many casual situations, maybe just passing an acquaintance in the hallway, or even sometimes a stranger in certain contexts, they're just alternatives to hello, ways to acknowledge someone.
They're like conversational filler.
Kind of, yeah. Or just social pleasantries that keep the wheels greased.
So launching into a detailed story about your terrible morning is probably not the expected response.
Generally not, no. Unless you know the person well and the context suggests they genuinely have time and interest, usually the expected reply is short, positive, and often turns it back.
Like,
good, thanks. You. Fine, thanks. How about you? Not bad, you. Or for what's up or what's new. Classic answers are just not much or nothing.
that is such a common point of confusion for learners. So how do you know? How can you tell if someone really wants the details versus just saying hello with a question?
Well, one source offered a really useful tip, almost like a secret code. They often ask twice. Yeah. So the first might be the quick, casual, hey, how's it going? And you give the short answer, good, you. Then, if they really want to know, they might follow up, maybe lean in a bit, change their tone and say something like, no, but how are things? I heard about that project. Or, so how are you really doing?
Okay. So that second, more direct or specific question is the cue.
That's usually your signal that they're genuinely asking for more than the standard polite response.
That's a great takeaway, the ask twice rule. Okay, and speaking of these, what's up? Specifically has a bit of a twist, depending on where you are, right?
It does. So what's up is super common in American English as just a casual, hello, how are you?
Mm.
Understand.
Right.
But one of the sources, the Cambridge Dictionary entry, pointed out that in British English, its main meaning is actually more like, what's the matter or what's wrong? Like you're asking why someone seems upset.
Oh, wow. That could definitely lead to some crossed wires.
Absolutely. Imagine you see a British colleague looking a bit down. You walk over cheerfully and say, what's up? They're likely to think you're asking them to spill their problems, not just greeting them.
Yikes.
Although, importantly, the sources also noted that younger Brits are using what's up more as a greeting now, probably that American influence again.
So context is everything. Age, background.
Exactly. You have to read the situation and the person.
That regional difference is a perfect bridge to the next point. Greetings aren't just formal or informal. They carry these regional and, well, cultural flavors, too.
Definitely. We mentioned howdy in the southern U.S. Another really well-known one is g'day in Australia. Just a casual shortening of good day.
And trying to use these, if they're not naturally yours, can sound a bit off, right? Like if someone from London started saying howdy all the time.
Yeah, it might sound a bit strange or maybe even like they're joking because it lacks that authentic connection to the place or culture it comes from.
And the cultural side goes deeper than just specific words. One source, that Reddit discussion, got into how greetings might reflect broader cultural vibes.
Yeah, it touched on those general perceptions, and they are just perceptions, generalizations that maybe Americans tend to be a bit more overtly friendly in public.
Like expecting more nods, smiles, maybe quick hellos, even with strangers you pass.
All right. Compared perhaps to Brits, who might be seen as slightly more reserved in public spaces, maybe less likely to greet strangers. Though, again, the discussion pointed out huge variations within both countries. Depends on the region, the city, the person.
Of course. It's never monolithic.
And just to give some perspective, that thread also mentioned other cultural greetings, like bowing in Korea. It's a good reminder that while saying hello is universal, how we do it and the expectations around it differ wildly. Bowing is definitely not a standard greeting in the US or UK.
It's amazing how much is packed into just saying hi.
Mm.
Okay, finally, we can't ignore how the digital age has shaken things up.
Oh, yeah. Technology's created whole new arenas for greetings, hasn't it? Texting, social media.
Full of informal stuff. Hey, hi, what's up? Everywhere.
Often with abbreviations, too, or acronyms and emojis. GIFs, they add back some of that tone or emotion that's missing from plain text.
Yeah, a simple hey feels different from hey with a waving hand emoji cost.
Totally. Email greetings are interesting, too. They can range quite a bit. Hi name is really common now, even for colleagues you might have addressed more formally before.
But you'd still use Dear Mr. So-and-so for really formal stuff or first contact.
Generally, yes, though you do see informal greetings creeping into more places like workplace chat platforms, Slack, and things like that. The lines are blurring a bit.
And video calls. They kind of bring back the face-to-face element, don't they? You can smile, wave, hear the hello.
Yeah, it feels much closer to an in-person greeting than just text. And phone greetings, well, they're still pretty standard.
Hello, if you don't know who's calling.
Right. Or if you have caller ID and see as a friend, you might just answer, hey name, or hiya.
And for business calls.
Usually state your name or company. Hello, this is your name or company name, your name speaking. Professionalism is key there.
So, okay, even across texting, email, video, phone, the underlying thing is still the same, isn't it? It comes back to your relationship with the person and the context.
Exactly that. This whole deep dive, looking at all your sources, it really hammers home that point. Choosing the right English greeting isn't just memorizing words. It's about reading the social cues.
Understanding the situation.
Yeah.
Who am I talking to? Is this formal, informal? Are there regional things I should know, online or in person?
It's like social grammar. And the sources suggest the best way to really get good at this isn't just books or rules. It's listening, observing.
Paying attention to how native speakers actually do it in different situations.
The more you tune into those nuances, the more natural it'll start to feel for you. And the more confident you'll become navigating English conversations, making those connections.
So yeah, from that basic, reliable hello, all the way to a formal good afternoon, Miss Jones, or a super casual hey, what's up? Maybe a regional howdy or a digital hi-yo. There's just incredible variety.
And knowing the difference, understanding those subtleties, it really does make a difference in how well you communicate, how you connect with people.
Definitely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's maybe a final thought for you to chew on, something that pulls together threads from the sources. Think about how these greetings aren't just functional. They're tiny windows into culture.
Mm-hmm.
When you consider those perceived differences in friendliness, or how digital greetings are evolving so fast, what does the way people greet each other actually tell you about their underlying values, maybe their social structures, the context they live in? And maybe flip it around. What do your own greetings from your own culture say about where you come from? And how does that stack up against the English customs we've talked about today?